The first time Ijeoma Okafor noticed the man at the gate of Ojora Market, she was balancing a tray of mangoes on her head, sweat sliding down her back in the Ajegunle sun. He didn't beg. Not really. He just sat by the rusted iron gate, dark glasses on, crooked stick beside him, and an empty calabash bowl at his feet. Still. Silent. Invisible. Until the mechanic's boys started throwing sachet water bags at him. "Get up, you blind bat," one of them shouted. One burst against his shoulder. He didn't flinch. Iya's tray slammed to the ground. "Una no get home training?" Her voice cracked through the air. The boys scattered, laughing. She approached the man slowly. He didn't move. She dug into her wrapper and placed a piece of akara, yesterday's leftover, in his bowl. "It's not much," she said, "but it's something." He turned his head slightly. "Thank you," he murmured. His voice was calm, gentle. Back at her stall, the whispers began. "That ear girl. She can't even buy cough syrup for her mother, but she's feeding blind beggars." Iya ignored them, but something stayed with her. The next day, she brought a yam peel, then half a bread roll, then moi. By the third week, it was routine. Then one morning, her uncle's voice roared across the stalls. "Isha!" She turned. Her uncle Gozia was already marching toward her, his poultry apron stained. "You think I don't hear what they say? Always near that blind man." "He's hungry," she said quietly. "And I'm not," he barked. Iya looked down. She didn't argue. But something deep inside her, something defiant, refused to retreat. That night, their one-room apartment in Ajegunle was dark, save for the glow of a kerosene lamp. Iya sat beside her mother's mat, watching each shallow breath. Mama Nenna's skin looked pale under the flickering light, her cough sharp and dry. "I'll find a way, Mama," Iya whispered, brushing damp hair from her forehead. Her mother's lips curved faintly. "You have a good heart. Don't let this world harden it." The next morning, Ija opened her old tin trunk and pulled out a faded cloth pouch. She tipped it into a palm, 3 100 naira notes, 2 coins, and a button. Not enough for medicine. Not even close. At Ojora Market, smoke curled from roasted corn stalls. The heat pressed down like punishment. The blind man was already at the gate, as still as ever. Iya dropped a small wrap of moi in his bowl. But today she saw it. His hand reached for the food without hesitation. No fumbling, no groping. His fingers landed perfectly on the wrap, like he could see it. She froze. "Are you really blind?" she asked before she could stop herself. A faint smile tugged at his lips. "Does it matter?" His voice was stronger now, more grounded. Before she could respond, her uncle's voice shattered the moment. "Ijeoma!" Uncle Gozi grabbed her arm roughly, dragging her away from the gate. "I've had enough," he snapped. "I arranged something, a marriage." Ija blinked. "With who?" "Chief Babalola, Lekki man. Rich." Her stomach twisted. "No, I won't marry him." "You will," Gozi hissed, "or your mother dies in that bed." His hand flew across her face, sharp and sudden. Her cheek burned, but her chest burned worse. That evening, she found herself at the edge of Makoko, where the lagoon met silence. She sat on a rock, tears falling into the water. Then, footsteps. The man from the gate. No stick, no glasses. Just him. "How did you find me?" she asked, wiping her face quickly. "I may not see with my eyes," he said, settling beside her. "But I hear more than most." They sat in silence, broken only by the soft slap of water against shore. "Why do you come here?" she whispered. He didn't look at her. Sometimes those closest to us carry the sharpest knives. The words hit like truth she'd been too afraid to speak aloud. She turned toward him. "Who are you?" He only said, "Just a man watching the world." But Aya didn't believe that. By dusk, she returned home to find the tin trunk open, empty. Her coins gone. Uncle Gozi stood at the door, arms folded, mouth curled into a smirk. "Looking for something?" "Where are my coins?" she demanded. "Gone," he said flatly. "Chief Babalola sent word. He wants you by the end of the week." "You stole the money meant for Mama's medicine?" "You're lucky anyone wants you," he spat. "You've been a burden since your father died." Ija's legs gave way. She collapsed beside her mother's mat, breath ragged. Mama Nena stirred weakly, lips barely parting. That night, her mother passed with only her daughter's hand to hold. The funeral was quiet. No neighbors came. Uncle Gozi stood like a bored spectator. When it ended, Ija went to the market. The gate was empty. No man, no calabash bowl. Gone, like he had never existed. Days passed like shadows, slow, heavy, and cold. Ija moved through Ajegunle like a ghost. No mother, no money. Just shame thick on her skin. Uncle Gozi strutted around the house like he owned the air she breathed. One morning, he dropped a worn-out wrapper and blouse in her lap. "Chief Babalola arrives tomorrow," he said. "You'll wear this. You'll smile. You'll say yes." Ija didn't look up. "I won't sell my dignity, even if we starve." Gozi snarled. "Dignity?" He spat on the floor. "Your mother's grave is still fresh, and you talk of pride." She stood, fists trembling at her sides. "I'd rather sleep in the gutter." He tossed a rusted key across the floor. "This house is mine now. You'll marry who I choose, or sleep outside." Ija said nothing. There was nothing left to say. By evening, whispers snaked through Ojora Market. "She's being sold. Gozi is smart, turning sorrow to profit." That night, he flung a tray and wrapper at her feet. "Tomorrow, you serve drinks at the festival. They need to see what they're paying for." Ija picked them up, but something had changed. In her silence, grief had sharpened into something else. The next morning, Lagos buzzed with festival drums and kites of colorful fabric. At Freedom Park, laughter mingled with roasted corn smoke. Ija moved among the crowd with a tray of palm wine, her faded wrapper tied neatly, her eyes dull but steady. "Faster, girl!" a woman barked as Ija passed. She kept walking. Then everything stopped. From the edge of the square, a man walked in, tall, dressed in white. No glasses, no stick. The man from the gate. Her tray slipped. Glasses clattered. Drinks spilled. Gasps followed. Gozi's voice cut through. "Clumsy fool." But Ija didn't hear him. The man turned, met her gaze, and walked toward her, each step louder than the drums. The market square held its breath as the man in white approached, tall, composed, no limp, no glasses, eyes clear and focused. Gozi gripped Ija's arm. "Don't embarrass me," he hissed. But the man stopped just feet from them. "Come," he said to her. An invitation, not a command. Gozi yanked her tighter. The man's gaze shifted, cold and controlled. "I wasn't asking." For the first time, Gozi's bravado cracked. His grip loosened. Ija stepped forward, trembling. She followed the man past stunned faces, away from the drums and into the quiet, beneath an old mango tree at the edge of the square. She couldn't speak, could barely breathe. "You lied," she whispered. "I did," he replied, "but not to mock you." Then why? Her voice cracked. He looked out at the distant skyline. To see what people become when they think no one's watching, when status is stripped. He turned to face her fully. I lost everything once. Wealth, family, trust. I needed to know if kindness still existed. Then I met you. Ije blinked, the ache in her chest shifting. I wasn't trying to impress anyone, she murmured, and that's why you're standing here. A voice called from the square, David, the elders are ready. David? She repeated. He smiled. David Oladeji. She barely had time to process it before he walked back towards the crowd, leaving her breathless. In the square, the drummers fell silent. David raised a hand. You saw me at the market gate, blind, dusty, silent, and most of you walked past. Faces dropped, murmurs rippled, but one person didn't. Every eye turned. She had nothing, but gave. No expectation, no performance. He walked to her again. Yeah, I offer you back what they tried to take. Your dignity. He extended his hand. Slowly, she placed hers in his. Not as a beggar. Not as a girl bought and silenced, but as someone finally seen. By morning, Ojora Market buzzed with a new kind of whisper. I heard he's a billionaire. They said his name is David Oladeji, and she's the one who helped him. Vendors who once mocked Ije now stared as she walked past, not with her head down, but held high. She didn't flinch when she passed Uncle Gozier by the poultry stall. He muttered something under his breath, eyes bloodshot with rage. When she reached home, her few clothes were already flung outside. You think you're better than me now, he shouted, because a man called your name. Ije didn't respond. She picked up her bundle. You'll come crawling back when he leaves you, Gozi spat. Men like him always do. Ije looked him in the eye. Better to be alone than live with your shame. She walked away, lighter, freer, with no roof over her head, but a future cracking open in front of her. That evening, a boy from the next compound found her near the community well. David's looking for you, he panted. He's at the old community center. Ije followed him, heart racing. Inside, David stood by a long wooden table covered in papers. He smiled. I heard you stood up to your uncle. She shrugged. I had nothing left to lose. He nodded. That's where strength begins. He gestured to the papers. I'm starting a foundation for women like you. But I don't want to do it alone. I want to build something real. With you. Ije stared at him, stunned. I don't want gold, she whispered. I want to help others say no, like I did. David smiled, warm and sure. That's exactly why I chose you. Weeks passed, and the winds of Lagos carried a new story. Not of a blind beggar. Not of a poor market girl. But of two people, Ijoma Okafor and David Oladeji, who turned a quiet act of kindness into a ripple that spread across Ojora Market, Mile 2, and beyond. Together they opened the first center for women at the edge of Makoko, a simple building, painted soft blue, with a sign above the door, the Grace Foundation. It welcomed girls who had been silenced, women forced to choose survival over dignity, and it gave them something most had forgotten how to want, hope. David stood back often, letting Ije lead. She was no longer the girl with the tray. She now trained women, counseled girls, spoke in town halls, and when asked how it all began, she simply said, with bread and silence. One morning, as they walked past the old gate of Ojora Market, she paused. Do you think they remember? She asked. David smiled. Maybe. But what matters is that you didn't need them to believe in you first. She looked at him. You saw me when I didn't even see myself. He took her hand. You gave me my sight back, just not the way people think. Later that evening, under the same mango tree where their story had turned, David knelt. No gold, no crowd. Just the two of them and the soft Lagos dusk. I saw you, he said, and I choose you, not just for what you gave me, but for who you are. Iya didn't cry. She smiled. Then let's walk forward, she said, not as rescue and rescued, but as two people who chose courage.